Teaching log 14. Today I am going to start getting my students to outline their ethnographies. I started talking about ethnography last class, and I feel like I talked everything I needed to talk about last class, and in my syllabus, in my agenda, I kind of have ethnography continued. And I think it'll be easier for my students to be able to focus a little bit more on their ethnography by how to prepare for it. So I'm going to give them a free write, like how are you going to prepare for it and how are you going to outline writing your ethnography. And from that, I'm going to have them kind of draft like a really brief ethnography of the classroom, like what kind of people are there, like the before doing their observation and then the afterwards, and then kind of bring that together to write the report that they're going to turn in on Tuesday. I also have a lot of like basic stuff that I feel like I need to cover for my students. For example, I have like a list of questions that I want them to ask themselves before they observe, after they observe, and kind of keep this in mind on their during their observations, like when and where are you observing and like what time? What kind of research are you going to do before you go? Like when did this place open? Why? What's so important about this place? And then what are they hoping to gain from their observation? And then I'm kind of going to go into like the outlining basics for different essays, because ethnography is more of a report where they reflect on a location, like they describe and reflect the location. And their essay is a narrative where they have to kind of create, make sure that their story is flowing with the character, the scene, and the interactions. And then I want them to kind of start pre-writing. And I also started noticing with my students' essays that MLA format, their MLA is not great. So I'm going to go over the MLA basics and start going over like a breakdown of an essay. I know that I rushed through progression 1, and I'm going to give them a chance to revise the progression 1 essay for a better grade. But for that, they have to meet certain requirements. I have to write this down before I forget. And I want them to go to the tutoring center to improve it. I want them to come to me and talk to me about how they're going to improve it, like talk it out. And I want that to be reflected in their essay. And I'm just preparing them for the rest of the semester and the rest of their life, because they're going to end up writing. And if I teach this and they learn this well, I have a bunch of handouts from the tutoring center that I work at that I'm going to give them. But today I'm teaching basically off of those handouts. That way, Tuesday's class is going to be a little bit more fun, where they, as a group, write a narrative. So one person's going to create a character, another person's going to talk about conflict, another person's going to do the scene, and they're going to have like, it's kind of like speed dating in narrative form. So instead of like speed dating and getting to know each other, it's like speed dating, read what it is that you have and write. Read what it is that you have and create, or something like that. So I think that's going to be a really fun activity for them to consider. Okay, what are the things that you need to write in order to keep the audience interested? And then that can be reflected on their essay too. But I'm excited to see how my students feel today. And that's all that I have right now. I'll talk more about this after class and see how it went and see what it is that I can do better for next class, because I know for sure that there's certain things I need to do. Class went pretty well. I changed the layout of the class for this assignment, where they were looking more at the board, because it's in a really weird layout where the board is on this side, and then the projector's over here, and the students are facing the projector. So whenever I have to write on the board, they have to turn, and some people are actually have their backs against the board. So I just changed everything and made them face the whiteboard because I was doing more writing stuff on that. As a class, we kind of figured out, well, what it is that we do in an outline, how do we write a thesis statement really shortly, basics of MLA format, how we're going to write a narrative. We looked at a narrative and figured out the plot diagram because I do want them to start thinking about essay 2. Next class, I'm going to talk about the writing process and have them start outlining, brainstorming, and planning out their essays, because it is a narrative one. I noticed a little bit of confusion where my students were asking it about the fairy tale element in the fairy tale, and I'm like, you know what, scrap that. Write a narrative, focus, make sure it's focused, but make sure it's something that you can share with other people. Look at waves for other samples of narratives, and it should be easier for them now. And I asked them how we would be able to outline a narrative. It was just a bunch of jam-packed, like, this is what it is that we're going to do, and you should go to the writing center and talk to them to help you out, to improve it. Something that really happened today, though, is that my student who's been absent 4 times finally came to talk to me about why she was absent. I mean, she emailed me and told me, hey, someone passed away in my family, and I told her, like, I don't like asking for this, but I just don't want someone else who turned in an assignment late to be like, well, she turned in her assignments late. And so I gave her an extension for certain things, and I gave her an outline, and we worked together, looked at the progression and everything. Hopefully she is going to start taking her classes a little bit more seriously, because at the moment she's failing. But when she turns in these assignments and she gives me the evidence to excuse 2 of the 4 absences, she should bounce back up to the average range, like a C or B average. And I told her to come talk to me, and I actually gave her like a list of like the hours I'm usually in my office. There's a specific hour that I'm here just for students to walk in, but I told her, I'm usually here on these times, come talk to me, which was really good that she finally reached out to me, because I emailed her last week saying like, hey, you're technically failing, but I am off to eat my food, and I am off to finish grading essays. And I am going to actually have a log on that because it is hard. Grading essays are difficult, and I'm not going to talk about that in this short video. So until the next video, bye.